When you buy a new house, you might say,
"Shut the front door."
Winning!
No, seriously, shut the front door. We own this house now.
but you actually need to say,
"Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there."
That's right. The local State Farm agent is there to help you choose the coverage you need.
Welcome to my crib. No one says that anymore, but I don't care.
So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions and views of Cumulus Media and FM 103.7 and AM 710 KCMO, Kansas City's most stimulating talk.
Percolate on a particular mix of odd and inspiring news headlines in Wendy's Coffee House. Newsmakers with a penchant for the unknown, unexplained, and unusual share their experiences with UFOs, ghost encounters, near-death experiences, and more for your own unique blend of Wendy's Coffee House Curious.
I'm sorry I had to break the coffee thing. I'm doing Gatorade tonight. It's quite a change, switching from the 6 a.m. morning time to the 8 p.m. evening time, because with the coffee, I'm wired till, I have to get up again at 4 a.m. But okay, gonna try and change this. In the meantime, thank you for not listening to the Super Bowl. However, my highlight, which they previewed the commercials during the week, is the Melissa McCarthy highlight of the Kia. I'm a Kia fan anyway, but Eco Warrior, you betcha. And then a slam dunk on SNL. So that one kind of tipped the odds in her favor. Space, the fountain of youth. NASA has a twin study, and they said that it looks pretty promising that the astronaut who was in space apparently got younger. Well, okay, maybe not, but his parts of him did. So they're really excited about some of the stuff they're learning, because with one twin who's stationary on the planet, then they can see if there's any benefit or some major problems. And then there's a new film out, a film that could possibly change everything, because it's basically you can have any plot line you want as the ending of the film. And I can't remember, it's like a number short of pi. That's the amount of plot lines. And they say right now they can't do it to get feature film. It's too long. It's too complicated, too complex for that. But it's really a very cool way to do it. It's the times. I'll put this stuff on the blog. And I've got enough stuff right now. I have no idea. It was just one heck of a week for content. And so I may have to do 2 posts with this. My guest tonight is fabulous. I found his videos, and then I found out that he has like 200 children's books. He's a prolific author, very well known, all that. And I found him on YouTube with his Life Explained series, where he illustrates his stories of how things come about, like reincarnation, past lives, soulmates, that kind of stuff. He's fascinating. And he also sent me his new book with Byron Katie, The 4 Questions. It's a Henny Penny remake. Henny Penny got a remake. Imagine that. Updated. It's how to deal with anxiety. Oh, whoa, how timely. Well, that'll work. Okay, along that happy reading line, if you are a wizard, you want to be a wizard, you're practicing your Quidditch moves as we speak, you're probably, into Harry Potter. And I know we watch the movies all the time, over and over and over again. Andy's like, again? Yeah. Which one? 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't like the darker ones, okay? And I found out there's a difference because there's a different director. But the study says they were researching people who read Harry Potter because we are an enigma. According to the new study, it might make you a better person. This is published in the Journal of Applied Social Psychology. Those who read Harry Potter identified with the character, the main character, not the darker folks, as in the Lord of all dark things. It says that we're less likely to be prejudiced toward ethnic minority groups, and so that gives us, brownie points. It goes further than that, but we're just going to get the overview and the highlights. All right. The cool thing, and this is, I was so really thrilled when I saw that they've discovered a lost continent under the Mauritius Island in the Indian Ocean. In 1998, I had some information. That's why I wrote the book, Talking to Nightlights. And one of the little pieces was that Atlantis went into the Indian Ocean. And I'm like, this is totally not, can't have, no way. wrote it down, published the whole 9 yards. And so when this came out, I was, yes, it's there somewhere. Well, it turns out this was like a huge continent, supercontinent. And the supercontinent was Gondwana. All right, they're renaming it now. So anyway, the thing is about this is how old is it? The island, they've got rocks no older than 9 million years old. Studying the rocks, they found zircons, little pieces. They're as old as 3 billion years. So they're estimating this lost continent about 2 billion. Of course, that's all research in progress. The other stuff going out this week, it's the 40th year anniversary, if you're into the UFO stuff, which, yes, I am, okay. That also makes us kind of unique and quirky for missing the Super Bowl. And we must all be in that same group. Anyway, the UFO thing, which is fabulous because they're making a movie about the one that was involving John Mack. And that was the kids in Zimbabwe who saw the UFO. I think it was 1994. Ariel Phenomenon is the name of that movie. And it's a work in progress. They've got it posted on his site. It's supposed to be done any time now. They're still working on the final editing. But this is the Broadhaven UFO 40-year anniversary. And that was one I hadn't heard a whole lot about, but that's the BBC. Talks about the kids who saw the game. Same thing, school children, 1997, and Zimbabwe school children who saw a UFO and little people. And the movie that's in progress goes back and talks to the kids who had the sighting and then how it changed their lives. And some of them, they're still completely perplexed or gobsmacked, whatever, from that. But it did let them know, because they had the experience up close and personal, there's something else out there, and it's here. And they couldn't make it go away just by having somebody else tell them it didn't exist. The other one that is so fascinating right now, the stuff that with Uri Geller, and the fact that they have confirmed by releasing the the newly released declassified CIA documents show that he was onto a whole lot. If you want to watch for free, don't have to do anything special, the wonderful documentary on his life, it's on his website, and he posts the little code that you can get in and see it. I'm sure that's a tracking, but you can watch it for free. He also puts some of the books on there too. And I've always been fascinated by him at the beginning, and they go behind the scenes and tell you a little bit more about some of the things that he does. And I can't remember, 2006, one of the guys I interviewed who was a media person doing interviews at the time, and I can't remember what he was promoting, but he had been a manager for Uri, and he said that he went to his house and all the spoons were just exactly like you see them everywhere else. They're all bent because that's one of those little quirks that's around him. One of the best things I have seen for quite a while in terms of the little guy making off like a bandit and surviving to live another day. The brave bunny fights off the hungry bird of prey. I didn't post it yet. I'm doing the Wendy's Coffee House blogspot thing here. I'll post that probably in the next one. But there's this hawk going after the hare, and the hare turns around. It's in Russia. And it turns around, and he starts duking. Okay, go, no, yeah. A little ninja bunny. And the hawk finally says, yeah, right, okay, fine. It's like, scrappy little dude. So anyway, fun stuff like that happening. And I'm into some of the other stuff. On the website, you can catch up with this. There's a really cool animated short film. I found some fabulous sci-fi films that just, kind of thought-provoking, but that's on there. In the meantime, my guest next is Hans Wilhelm, and he's got some fabulous life-explained videos on YouTube. I'm going to ask him about his creative process, because what's it all about? How do you come up with these ideas, and why not? Wendy's Coffee House next.
FM 1037 and AM 710. Stimulating talk. KCMO.
Do you have acne or even the occasional breakout? With prescription-grade Proactive Plus, your acne can heal and you can prevent future breakouts. Try Proactive Plus 100% risk-free. Plus, get 2 free gifts and free shipping. Take it from me, Proactive really works. Get prescription-grade Proactive Plus, their amazing skin purifying mask, and a second gift of your choice. Totally free and free shipping. You're guaranteed to get clear and stay clear, or you don't pay a penny. Call now. 800-281-8770. 800-281-8770. 851-8770.
Guys, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Luckily, Pro Flowers is offering an unbelievable deal. 1 dozen assorted roses plus a free glass vase for $19.99 plus shipping and handling. And this week only will also include free chocolates. Order now from Pro Flowers. You pick the delivery date and it's guaranteed. But hurry, this incredible deal expires this Friday. The only way to get this amazing deal is to visit proflowers.com. Click on the blue microphone in the upper right corner and enter the secret code 0808. That's proflowers.com. Secret code 0808.
Do you ever get tired of all the money in politics? I know I do.
This is the Free Market Minute with Dr. Howard Wall.
One of the reasons for all the money flowing into politics is cronyism. That is, because government has become increasingly intrusive into business decisions, market competition is being replaced with political competition. Cronyism means that political spending helps guide which regulations are put into place, which companies are allowed to participate, what wages must be paid, and ultimately, how much profit is to be made. Cronyism has become such an important profit source that investments in political activity and regulation now account for almost as much profit as does investment in physical capital. So if you want to get business out of politics, a good start would be to get politics out of business.
To learn more, go to newsdoneright.com. The Free Market Minute is a service of the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
The most stimulating talk in Kansas City. AM 710 and FM 1037 KCMO.
You know, it's a Sunday night. Things are kind of, cool so far. Super Bowl. I'm sorry. I apologize for taking you away from it. The cool thing is it's downloadable on the podcast. So if you miss anything, you can check it out. But I'm really thrilled because my guest, Hans Wilhelm, has a fantastic blog on YouTube, Life Explained. If you have not discovered it, that's why we're talking to him. First and foremost, though, he's a children's author, illustrator, artist. Wiki bio, like 200 books to his credit. And you may know him if you have kids and you are, in... one of the books, I'll Always Love You. This is one where the child has a dog, and the dog, it takes you through the process of getting connected, enjoying the dog, and then the dog has to go to heaven. And it works you through it and talks about what happens, and the memory is, I'll always love you. The cool one, another one, The 4 Questions, brand new with Byron Katie, or recent with Byron Katie for Henny Penny, and it deals with stress the way only Henny Penny could. So I would recommend it to any adult right now. That's, I think this is really a good one to get you through. Hi, Hans. I'm so glad you're not involved in the Super Bowl at the moment. Yay.
Hi, Wendy. I'm honored, and thank you for calling. Lovely to talk with you.
Thank you. Okay, I really like Life Explained, your videos on YouTube. I think you do such a fabulous job. You illustrate as you go along. So when somebody's watching this and listening to the story and listening to the ideas, then you're drawing it out, outlining it, and one of the newer ones I just checked out was How Reality Works. Mm-hmm. And I guess from all of the stuff you were doing with children's books and illustrating and all that, how did you get started with the Life Explained series?
Well, it all thanks to my father after he died. The story is quite similar. It was something like in 2004. My father was dying slowly, and we children were around him 24 hours more or less. And when it was, and my father, who was a German, and he went through 2 world wars and so on. He was a soldier. He saw a lot of death and so on. And he was absolutely convinced that after the death, physical death, there's nothing. Consciousness stops, and that's over. Life is over. He has seen it too often, and he was absolutely convinced about that one. And we all respected that, and he also knew that I didn't quite, that I had different views about this. And when he was lying there and he couldn't communicate anymore, and it was one of his last days, I said to him, Dad, I know you believe that after death there is nothing for you anymore to experience and so on, but just in case life continues, let me tell you what most likely will take place so that you are not surprised. So I told him for the next 15, 20 minutes what might happen when he dies. And when I was done, he sort of smiled a little bit, like he understood me, but he surely didn't believe a word of it. Anyway, I totally forgot about this, totally. 4 or 5 years later, I hear about this young man here in America who is channeling people from the other side, the dead people and so on, or on the souls. And I've seen it many times, and it was nothing new for me, but this one man, he was very young, and everybody was talking about it, and he just released a new book and says, I want to just see this guy. And he gave a talk at the local bookstore, and I wanted to make sure that I got a seat, so I went very early, and I sat down, waiting to begin. It was totally empty, and suddenly somebody tapped me on my shoulder, and I turned around. There was this young guy, and he said, I just saw you coming into the bookstore, and as you came in, your father from the spiritual world came right up to me and says, go and to this man, he is my son, speak to him, and thank him so much for what he has told me before death, and all about death. It was so helpful for me, and since then, I've seen so many souls arriving on the other side who are totally confused and don't know what to expect, don't know what to do, and please encourage him to write books about it so that more people know about it. Now, for me, that was not my intention. I thought the spiritual path is a very personal path. I've done it for 40 years. I don't really announce it. I don't try to convince anybody. And making a book was also not really my answer, because I know bookmaking, and I know that spiritual books are not easy to sell, and if you want to sell them, you really have to be hyper-energetic, to go on every talk show and push and push and push, as you probably know, to make it happen. Otherwise, the publishers are not very happy with your results. So I said, I'm not going to make a book. I've done enough books. But then I remembered that when I was a young teenager, a young person, and I was studying this stuff, we didn't have the internet. I didn't really know where do I get information. My parents didn't have any information. People around me didn't have any information. It says, I want to reach out particularly to these young people. And where are they today? They're, of course, on the internet. And they're on YouTube. And it says, well, that's the way. And so I'm using my talent of illustrating, because I do also a lot of illustration of the books. And in a way, I'm the person, when I buy something from IKEA, like a bookshelf, I can't put it together. If I read it, put part A to part B. I have to see it visually, to how the part A goes into part B. Then it makes sense to me. So that's what I did. It is my drawing. I'm just drawing it along as I understand the various subjects. And that's it. And I just offer it. I try not to convince anybody. This is my personal journey and how far I understand it now. And I still have to actualize all this myself in life. I am not above all the things that I'm teaching. And if it helps other people, great. If not, that's also great.
Well, I think it's fantastic, because it does. When you're drawing along, you're talking. You're very comfortable. You're very relaxed. It's spelled out. It's easy to follow along. I also like the topics. You do a different take. I really was thrilled to see the way that you had approached The Secret and said why it didn't work, because I've had issues with that for a long time, thinking this is just too cookie cutter. It doesn't make sense. People are going to be so frustrated, and you address it quite eloquently.
Oh, it was a great seller. The promotion of the book and the idea was fantastic, but it didn't really work for most people, and it still doesn't work. And there's a reason for that, because the focus is wrong. The focus is not for us here to become rich and wealthy. I mean, for some people it's fine, but that is not our focus. And if we focus on something which we incarnated for, which is not what we incarnated for, most likely it will not take place, although it is possible with a lot of energy and so on. You can do this happen. There is a free will, but you may be wasting your whole purpose of life.
You also talk about how karma works.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that too. But you explain it.
And I think what surprised me most from all the different topics I think it's the third most watched video, which I couldn't believe, is on suicide. And this is, I think, a typical example that these videos are watched by many young people. And this is just amazing of how often the thought of suicide is in the minds of young people today. And when they see it, of what are the consequences of suicide, at least those who have written to me, have changed their mind. But I think that is a very powerful video, just by the emails I'm getting, and hopefully have touched some people there.
I think it touches, a lot of people. And I don't know that you're going to hear from everybody, but I know just from my accidentally stumbling upon it, that's the way a lot of people are going to find it. Just this, happening to see, picking up something in a similar search, and all of a sudden this pops up, and there it is. You cover several topics, and it's a way, I think, of giving people an idea, a different idea of how reality might work. With this, there are several other issues that you get into, and I mean the good and evil, the guardian angels, all these things that I think it's safer to go and watch something on YouTube than it is to have a conversation with somebody else, because again, you're talking about something that's very personal. When you go to places now, are you surprised that people are coming up to you and I guess saying, "Hey, it's about time"?
It's not in these big numbers that people would recognize me from my videos. No, I don't have that, thank God. I don't want to do that, because the biggest danger of any spiritual path is always vanity. So, no, I'm still incognito. People only know me from my children's books. But this is sort of a sideline, but I know people who have seen it, and from the correspondence I do get from people, it is really something which suddenly they have a much, much clearer. They can connect the dots. That's all that it does. These videos connect the dots. It shows that everything fits together if you just want to look. And I also take the example of very often we are scared and frightened because it's all black before us. And when we move a little bit away from the tapestry of life, we see it's just a black spot, and there's a red spot and a yellow spot. And if we move further away, we see that all these spots make a beautiful picture. And then we go even further away, it makes a whole beautiful story. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to remove myself as far as possible from the tapestry of life and see it from the big distance. And then I see, oh my God, it makes all sense.
Okay.
And I've got this wonderful story, which I think I have in my book, The Book of Courage. It was also from I think, a nurse or a doctor. She said that she one day was sort of meditating, and she had this vision that suddenly she saw herself in this huge room, a round room, and the ceiling or the wall was full of pictures of her life. And in the center there was this white being, a man, a spirit being, and watching her. And she looked at all these things, and she says, oh my God, I didn't know. It all makes sense. And it says, oh, if I only had known this all throughout my life, I wouldn't have worried so much. And that moment, this light being put her finger on her mouth and said, even the worrying was part of the perfection. I like that story.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we get so caught up in all the nitpicky details and, kick yourself over and over again for something that's like, get on with it. You have to make mistakes. You have to do certain things to be able to learn from the lessons.
Exactly. That's why we are here. Yeah, we have to learn, and we have to forgive and forgive ourselves and ask for forgiveness. I mean, that's the whole game we are doing here in a way to undo all those little mistakes. We must also have the courage to ask for forgiveness and, of course, to forgive as well, because we have been wrong so many times as well. It's a game of forgiveness.
What I also want to get into, we're going to take a break here in a minute, but into some of the topics that you cover, because it's a wide range. And if someone who's listening now, this will give an overview of everything that you go for. But I also want to say, I watched your TEDx video on boredom, and you have a wonderful, wonderful getaway.
Yes, I have to be there. This year I didn't go there, but
the one year you don't.
It's not over yet. Yes, that's the idea. That to use all those emotions which we have and turn them into something positive. I mean, the emotions are there for us to recognize ourselves, not to suppress them, not to use pills, alcohol, or anything else to chase them away, but to dare to look at them. And the moment we look at them, we see them as treasures.
Okay. You're listening to Hans Wilhelm, and the deal is these are videos. They're all on YouTube, available under lifeexplained.com. You can check them out one after the other. But some of the stuff we're going to talk about, the reincarnation, because these are the things that he goes into, the topics he covers, the surprises when you die, the purpose of life, the law of projection, guardian angels. There's a little bit of something for everyone here. Highly evolved beings, And this is something that I think, starts people talking if you're not really sure about this. Well, here's a way to at least get somebody's perspective and see what things you might be dealing with. I love the illustrations, like when you're doing fear and you put where the energy is and where that goes. I think that helps make the point a lot more effectively, too. So if you'll stick around, and if you miss any of this show, again, wendyscoffeehouse.com, do the blog spot, and you can catch up with that. And the podcasts are free. You don't have to pay any money. They're all loaded at Audio Boom. About, an hour or so after the show, Cody Lee will put them up, so we've got this ready to rock and roll. Anyway, I appreciate you listening tonight. And again, I'm so excited that Hans was able to take time to talk with us, because I know Super Bowl for a lot of people is like, the number one draw. Okay, sorry, Cody. Cody Lee's in there going, man. Okay, fine. So anyway, we're going to be back with more talking about what's going on with Life Explained, and maybe some surprises when you die. I like the story that your dad came back to at least check out and check in and let you know that this is really necessary. I think he's right. And I've talked with some people about the suicide issue. It is something that we really need to face front and center. So more of that coming up next. Stick around. You're listening to Wendy's Coffee House on KCMO Talk Radio.
CBS News Update. President Trump predicted a win for the New England Patriots in tonight's Super Bowl, but the Atlanta Falcons are working hard to prevent that. CBS's Steve Futterman is live in Houston.
And Pam, the New England Patriots trying to come up with a miracle comeback against the Atlanta Falcons. At one point they trailed 28-3, but New England has scored 9 straight points. It's now 28-12 with 9 minutes left in the game. Atlanta jumped out to a 21-0 second quarter lead and has been in control ever since. Falcon quarterback Matt Ryan has thrown for 2 touchdowns. Tom Brady has 1 TD pass along with an interception that was returned for a touchdown. Pam?
A lot of people are just happy to be at the game.
You got to sacrifice a lot to get here, believe me. You sacrifice family, work, but we're here and that's all that matters.
One happy wife.
Yep.
Vice President Pence is among those at the stadium tonight. CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
KCTV Storm Track 5 forecast. The accurate forecast you've come to trust.
Clouds are going to be on the increase as we head towards the evening. During the overnight, turning mostly cloudy, and actually by Monday morning, overcast for most areas. A slight chance for a few sprinkles during the overnight as well, with a slight chance for a few light passing showers by Monday morning. I'm KCTV 5 meteorologist Ronald Williams.
This Valentine's Day, forget the night out. Transform your bedroom into a luxury suite with Boll & Branch sheets. I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch. Our organic cotton sheets feel incredible, look great in your bedroom, and arrive beautifully packaged. Try them for 30 nights. If you're not impressed, send them back for a full refund. Right now, get $50 off your first set of sheets plus free shipping at bollandbranch.com with promo code SLEEP, spelled B-O-L-L, and branch.com. Promo code SLEEP.
Chris Platt.
Be well informed so that you may engage on the great issues of our day, including the conduct of the federal government, regardless of who's in the White House. It's Chris Platt, weekdays 11 to 1 on Kansas City's KCMO.
KCMO.
All right, Gatorade gone. The coffee, I'm like, man, I was so wired last time that I did the coffee at 8 o'clock. I thought, okay, I better settle down. So Gatorade's my pal now. However, it's still Wendy's Coffee House, where drinks are optional. And my guest, I'm serious. Maybe sometimes you need one. Hans Wilhelm is my guest, and I wanted to talk with you just a little bit because one of the other things I saw was with the boredom when you were a kid. That was basically your inspiration, and so you make time to open that creative window. But I thought it was such a fun way you explained it, and that's how you decided that the art might be your path to being God. That's kind of the way you put it.
I don't think I said art being God. I don't think I believe I'm God. I'm part of God. No, and as a co-creator, yes.
Maybe I edited one too many words.
Yeah. Oh, there's a big difference because somebody who says I am God and somebody who says I am part of God. I think there is. That's why my new video on how reality works. I think I make very clearly the distinction that we are part of God, and in that is we have the fun. But anyway, the creativity was coming out because I was just deprived of any distractions like computers and iPhones and whatever it is. I had to sit at home and when it was raining and it was cold and miserable, and turning that around and creating and starting to draw really created slowly my career. So I was cursing it at the time, I guess, and I was bored like hell and whatever, but eventually it turned around, and that was basically became one of my strengths, and also today it is something which I enjoy very much all the years, and how I reach out to others.
Well, I love your books. Just the website, when I first started researching, I'm like, oh, good grief, how could I have missed this? Because you have some beautiful books, beautiful stories, beautiful illustrations, and you look like you have a lot of fun.
Thank you. Yeah, I do. I just sort of catch up with my own childhood.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I think is fascinating about the videos, though, is that you don't shy away from some of the stuff that I think people are so curious about, like the higher evolved beings and the surprises when you die, the kinds of things that you deal with. It's all across the board, and I think that's the problem that a lot of people, even no matter what age, that when you're looking for support or looking for different kinds of ideas and a way to maybe format the way you view things to give yourself a little bit more, I think, permission to think differently, sometimes it takes this kind of approach to spell things out, to draw things out and give you a new perspective. And the purpose of life, which you did recently, I thought was a very nice way of drawing all these other topics together.
Yeah, Wendy, you are right. When it comes to these kind of very crucial, important questions, which we all have throughout our life, very often the only foundation we might find is from our upbringing and a certain kind of belief system or religion or whatever it is. And very few people or questioning people are totally content with it, because most of the organized religions, whoever they are, and even well-intending, are really having some major gaps in it. They don't come together necessarily. There's eternal hell stuff, and there's this, etc. And you have to really remove yourself from these conditionings that you grew up with and say, let me look at it, whether this somehow makes sense. Let me look at some other perspective and read some books and check things out. And I think when one does that, and suddenly you see that this whole thing does make sense, but the individual, very often restricted, organized religious views, whatever they may be, are not giving you that overall. They are really interested for you to bind you, and by binding you, they don't give you all the answer. Because the moment they would give you the answer, they would lose the grip.
There's one in here on organ transplants. Can you share that?
Well, organ transplant is I know a lot of people are happy are going to donate their organs after they're dying, which is fine, and I try not to talk them out of it. I respect that because it's a good intention. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work out so clear-cut as we hope it will do. The soul does not necessarily leave the body automatically when there is no more brainwave measurements. It's sort of basically when we are flatlined. In the medical community, we call this person a clinical dead person. So they immediately rip the body open, take out heart and everything, but the soul may still be connected to that body and feels all the pain. And that's not all. The soul is so connected to it, it may move with these parts like hearts and so on into the other new donor. And there are many books on this subject. If you read about it, I don't have them right in front of me here, but there are people who have written about it in great details, how they suddenly, after having been given a heart or a big body part from another, so that they suddenly pick up habits they had never had, like drinking or fast driving or whatever, etc. These are all habits of the previous donor, because the donor is still totally attached to that. Now, this may not be the case if they just transplant some little parts like an eye or whatever it is, but vital organs like the heart and things like this, that are very important. Then the soul can really move over to the new body, into the one who gets the organ. And that is something which is not talked about, but there are many stories where this is documented and books written about it. And so it's just not advertised because the medical industry does like to have the organs and like to use these organs. And, we have to think about it too as, all right, I don't want to be ever put into position to ask an organ or not if it's my own children and so on. And I fully understand if people go for that option. I fully understand it. But I do also know now the dangers, and sometimes we ask ourselves, particularly when you're older, whatever it is it really necessary to continue if the life is over? Maybe there are some other things worrying, because a lot of people, for instance, have a destroyed liver, and it's very often the case of extreme use of drugs and alcohol and so on. Maybe this is an area to clean up that habit before you take over another new organ and continue that behavior. So there is a lot else one can do before immediately asking for another heart. Let's look at our lifestyle first and change that totally and seriously, and sometimes even then the organ gets healthy again. I think there is a lot we can do, and instead of just jumping to the option of transplantation. I'm not saying don't do it, but I just offer again, this is a possibility which we want to consider, because a lot of the organs are coming from motorbike riders, young people very often, in accidents, sudden accidents, and a young person doesn't know about death, doesn't think about death. They think they live forever. They are utterly confused, and they suddenly see this whole thing happening with their body because they are totally aware of this whole thing, and they, out of desperation, move into the next body because they are so attached to their earthly life. They have no time to think about spiritual life or life after death. It is a lot of stuff comes together when we talk about organ transplantation. The same applies also with blood transfusion to a degree, that we take over the energy, because each blood corpuscle is also an energy carrier of the soul, of the karma of the other person. Whatever he or she has done is everything what we do is registered in our body, throughout our body, including the blood. So when we transfer a large amount of our blood, we transfer a lot of our karmic records, not karma, but karmic records to another person, which then again can initiate something else in the other person and make it stronger, which normally would not have taken place. Does it make sense?
Yes, absolutely. I had read, it's been years ago, but I remember reading about an issue where somebody had an organ transplant and their dreams changed, and they were dreaming all this very intense stuff, and finally realized that was the other person and their life, and that's what they stepped into.
Yeah, there are quite a few books about it, of people who have gone through it, and how their life has suddenly changed, and it's two people living in the same body.
Well, that's why I wanted to illustrate that there are some wonderful topics on here that might not be just the garden variety, New Age type stuff. I think that's why it's so important. With the guardian angels, you do a good job of explaining that as well, and what the purpose of a guardian angel, and you go into just being aware of that. I also like the fact that you offer meditation, and you say if you can stand, if you can work with my accent. I think you have a lovely accent. I think that helps.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know, but not everybody goes for it, but it's fine. But yeah, it's not usually the smooth meditation voice which you can get on the apps. And anyway, people enjoy it, that's all.
Yeah, well, it's real. It's authentic, okay? So,
Yes.
Going back to the guardian angels, could you just do a little overview of that? Because that kind of complements the other of instead of going the negative with the organ transplant, let's kind of bring it back to the bright side.
Basically, it is that nobody is on their own. We are never, ever, 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 ever alone. We maybe feel lonely, but we are never, ever alone, except in the moments when we do some really nasty, negative stuff. Then the guardian angel is not close to us. If we, for instance, are fighting or doing some ugly stuff, we are sending out very much strong negative vibrations, and a guardian spirit cannot stay close to these negative vibrations. So he or she may remove herself from you for a while, but still you are constant in their mind, and whenever it's possible, they will help you. But they will not tell us what to do. They will really, whenever we made our decision, the one thing they can do is they can send some kind of sensation, and mostly to our solar plexus. And they feel, this doesn't feel right. This is what we say. It doesn't feel right. My stomach's turning or whatever it is. We have got all these sayings in our language that something is not sounds right, doesn't feel right. And this is where the guardian angel says, watch it, be careful, make the right choices, think about it again. So we do have some physical, actually, feeling kind of sensation. And to guide us to say, may think about it twice. They will not interfere. If we still do what we want to do, that's fine. Then we just have to take the consequences. There's neither wrong nor right. It's just the consequences. Everything in life is just consequences. And if you do something what we call bad, we will have a consequence. We will have a karma. We have to learn that we will have the option, the opportunity to learn the same situation we have given to another person in our own life and from which we will grow. Everything in our life is there for our benefit, including our karma.
We're going to have to take a quick break. Hans Wilhelm is going to be back with me in just a minute. If you're just joining us, or if you haven't had a chance to do any research or background, you don't know who Hans is. He's written and illustrated over 200 books for all ages, sales of over 42 million copies, 30 languages, so he's pretty accessible in terms of the books. This is a newer project, and it's fascinating, fabulous, very well done. lifeexplained.com. When we come back, I wanted you to address, I like your take on soulmates. It's not quite that lovey-dovey stuff that everybody gets into, okay? Because there's a little work involved in your perspective, all right? You up for that? We're going to take a quick break and be back with Wendy's Coffee House.
My blinds were so ugly, I hung up drapes just to hide them. Finally, I got new ones, and they're stunning thanks to Blinds.com. The prices, selection, and quality are amazing. Shipping is free, and their professional designers gave me a free online design consultation, helping me pick, measure, and install the perfect blinds for every room.
This Valentine's Day, fall in love with your home. Now through February 14th, get 20% off your entire order at Blinds.com. Promo code HOME. That's Blinds.com, promo code HOME. Rules and restrictions apply.
What is it about buying a mattress that leaves you feeling violated? Pushy salespeople, fake sales, the walk of shame out of the mattress store? Those days are over. Hi, I'm Christian von Rickenbach, co-founder of Helix Sleep, where you can buy a mattress online, customized for you, for hundreds of dollars instead of thousands. Go to helixsleep.com, answer a few simple questions, and we build you the most comfortable mattress you'll ever sleep on. Shipping is free, and you have 100 nights to try it out. Go to helixsleep.com/talkradio and get $50 off your order. That's helixsleep.com/talkradio.
25 million. That's how many pillows MyPillow has sold over the last 12 years. And that's because they really are that good. MyPillow has built a business on the foundation of helping people sleep better, all while making sure each pillow is made in the U.S. And now, MyPillow is being featured on Small Town Big Deal, hosted by Rodney Miller and Jan Carl from Entertainment Tonight. They are giving you a behind-the-scenes look into MyPillow and a day in the life of inventor Mike Lindell. This special will be airing all week, so be sure to check your local listings for details. And to join the millions of people who are getting the best sleep of their lives, go to MyPillow.com or call
1-800-631-8676
and use promo code
KCMO
to receive MyPillow's 4-pack special. You'll get 2 MyPillow premiums and 2 Go Anywhere pillows, all for 40% off.
Hello, I'm Tom Becca. Join me on Monday's show. There are juvenile sex offenders. Should the other parents in the schools be aware if they are in the classroom? We're talking about it on KCMO.
Wendy's Coffee House, KCMO Talk Radio. Thank you for tuning in. I've got some really, really fun guests coming up. If you want to check out either the past shows in the archives or the guests coming up, get onto wendyscoffeehouse.com. All right, and you'll find all the details and stuff there. Also, the overview of tonight's show. I've got some links so you can check out some of Hans's work. And I wanted to get into soulmates because, okay, my husband now, I met him when I was 14. And it was a connect, and I had these metaphysical experiences, and he did too, and he kind of pointed one out, and I said, "Don't talk about that. People will think you're crazy." Okay, so that was the precursor. We went out, dated, maybe 1 or 2 times. That was it. We met at summer camp. Okay, so this was like a summer romance. We met again 28 years later, basically. But the fun thing in between there was about 10 years when I was divorced and he was getting married. After we had met at summer camp, I had a guy come into the store I was working at, and he wrote the name on his check that was the town that my husband is from. And I thought, I need to call him. And I knew this wasn't this guy, because it was a totally different name. Well, then I find out later there is no such person in that town with that name. There was only one. And he's like, so I know there was something else guiding us and reminding me later on down the road that maybe this person was important, and he is. But it's not. It's one of those where we have work to do. We know it, and we challenge each other. And I loved it when you said soulmates are not necessarily going to be, everything is all in sync. It's a thing of, here, help me. And so I think we complement each other, and I wanted to just say thank you to him for that while you're here.
Wonderful. It's a beautiful story. Yeah. My in-laws just had their 70th wedding anniversary this weekend, so I know they also met at camp. But anyway, yes, that's a good point. We can definitely be with a partner with whom we are totally in sync. May or may not be a soulmate according to my understanding, and what I'm sharing now is only, again, my understanding of having read it, researched it, because the main reason why people always think this is the only life there is, and of course in this life I have to be the happiest person ever, which means I must find my soulmate. Let us just not forget that this life, which is only an average of 800,000 hours, which is very, very, very short, is here for education, for growth, for reawakening, I call, of our soul. That is the main purpose. It is exactly like if you go to college for a few years, just a few years down to earth to learn what we have to learn, to undo what we have to done by mistakes or whatever. So it is a period of learning. And when we go to college, we are not taking our pet with us either, or mommy isn't coming with us either. We are for the first time on our own without any obvious support of we are used to. And that's how we develop ourselves, by becoming strong within ourselves. If we had the perfect mate, our mommy right next to our side, or daddy or whatever it is, or our dog all the time, we would not develop the strengths which we need to develop when we go into college to survive later on. And that's why the purpose for most people will not find their true soulmate, we all have that, in this lifetime. Some do, and together, this is often the case when they have something, as you mentioned, a higher calling, to do something here like bringing a teaching out or something, or etc., something on a spiritual level where they support each other. I come and help you. So their main goal is not so much undoing karma or learning anything or educating themselves. Their main goal is truly to bring some more light into the darkness. And there, for instances like this, the soulmate may join. But very often, the one who we call our soulmate or think is our soulmate is just a very, very close, dear soul member of our soul family. And not necessarily the soulmate, but it can be somebody who have been very close to as lovers, as parents, as children in previous lifetimes, and we really harmonize beautiful together. So I'm not saying your husband is not your soulmate, but there is another option possible. It's just a very, very close, dear soul member of your family.
He had a near-death or two experiences. One that he did remember me, and they said you need to be there for her. And that was when he was about 19 and fell off a fast-moving truck and hit the pavement pretty hard.
Wow.
But that's how he knew it, and I was not convinced. I think, yeah, right, go away. So he had to really work 28 years to
Well, you
get
think
my
about the
attention.
schooling years you needed before you met him. And then now together you are more focused on whatever you do.
Unfortunately, yeah, I'm focused. Well, for this, I also wanted to say, have you had your own experience? Did you have something that really, aside from your father, with your own learning, that brought this to your attention, that it's important, the work that you're doing?
I said in my video, in the last one here on reality quality, I do this video largely, firstly, for myself, because I like to draw it out and see how it works for myself, and then I put it into the video of other people and try it. That's fine. That's why all my videos are free. There's no membership, there's no donation, and there's no advertising. It is an exercise for me to really put all this, what I've read for 45 years, in books together and make it together and see whether it resonates with my tummy, my guardian spirit or whatever says,
Yes.
okay, this is okay. And then I put it out. So it's my tool to deeper understand how it all connects. And that I share. So I must be very honest with you. It is a rather selfish reason, firstly. I do it for myself. I do not have it yet as an idea, I want to save the world. No. That is only if people want to be saved or whatever, find anything out of it, it's up to them. But I do have my responsibility is firstly to myself that I get my own act together.
And I think that's beautiful. I like the way you say that. Now back to reincarnation. So have you been here, done that enough times that you think you might know a thing or two because of that past life from all that you've read?
I don't know. No, I think it comes largely. I had wonderful teachers, Wendy, teachers throughout this year. I'm doing it since my youth. And the more I read, the more I saw the how it all connected. And this is basically what I now put together, that it is all does connect. There is an overall kind of big pattern which all fits together. And I'm not drawing from any previous lifetimes or anything like this. And if I use any material from my soul or whatever it is, I'm not consciously aware of it. I'm just doing what I feel is right and sounds right and feels right for me. So I cannot say that I have got definitely some spirit working through me or with me. I have my guardian spirit who has his hands full. But that's about it. I'm not specially gifted. Let's put it that way. If that's what
okay.
you mean.
That's okay. You illustrate quite well. And I wanted to end with, there's one that you do, How to Bless. I think that's a sweetheart.
That, I think, is very, very important. We underestimate the power of blessing. And it's one way also where we slowly learn to let the light, not our light, but the light from divine run through us. And we put it out in thought. And if it's possible, we can actually use our right hand in the direction, but we can't do it in public because it looks silly. We can do it in thought. He says, I bless you, and the person we see, I bless you, I wish you well, I wish you happiness, in thought to the person. And every time we do this, we not only send light towards that person, it also goes through us. And the most important thing, for that very moment, we are not thinking about ourselves and our own trash. We are thinking about a bigger picture than ourselves. So we are cleansing slowly this channel of light because all our selfish or self-concerned thoughts are falling away for the period we are blessing. And we are allowing the light go through. Whether it happens to the other person or not is none of our concern. But we are sending out light. We are light beings. And we are like, as I said in my reality video, we are like sunbeams. And the light shines through us if we permit it. But through karma and through some selfish action in the past, we have really dimmed our light tremendously. But blessing is one way of really opening the channel again.
I want to say, if you were trying to stay under the radar, then maybe you shouldn't have done work with Byron Katie.
Well, Byron Katie was a wonderful influence. I think she is wonderful. Did you ever had her on a show? Did you ever had her on a show?
No, not yet. I've read some of her stuff, but no. And I just thought,
she has a totally different take on all of this, a more Buddhist take. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, we come together with all of this. And I see the connectedness, but I am very impressed. I've met her many times, and as one of these very humble people who really just want to make people stop worrying and stop the garbage, the negative and confusing thoughts. She's one of these really highly evolved beings. If I ever have met someone, there are maybe a handful of people. She is definitely one of them. And her teachings and her ideas and her simplicity and her beautiful, very simple and humble appearance is just mind-blowing. Anybody who has been in her presence she's not one of these new age pushy people. This is sort of the opposite.
Very genuine, very authentic. When I saw that you were with her and, here's all these big numbers in terms of success and awareness, then you're not going to be under the radar too long with your life explained. Just a word,
we'll see. Whatever happens, whatever they have planned is fine with me.
Stay humble, enjoy your beach, okay? Because that beach looks really nice.
Yeah, it's Jamaica. We are going there soon again. Wendy, it was such a fun to talk with you, and thank you. And I'm very honored to be on your program, and I wish everybody well. And thank you again for thinking of me.
Thank you so much. So, I really appreciate your time. And if you're listening, remember, all this stuff, you can check it out, Wendy's Coffee House. Check out his website, a couple of them. You've got lifeexplained.com, or hanswilhelm.com, and you can check out the books, the affirmation cards, a whole lot of fun stuff there. And remember, there's a whole lot going on right now. Some of the stuff is just basically a soap opera. So pick where you want to be in that soap opera. Give yourself a starring role and say, I can leave all the chaos and stress behind. I got this. I got this. And remember, you've got a guardian angel right beside you who's got it too, all right? And I think whoever it was who made it possible for Andrew to remember that he needed to help me along, even though I was stubborn, I appreciate them too, all right? Thank you, Hans. Thank you. Till next time.
Thank you, Wendy.
See ya. Take care. Think positive.
103.7 FM and AM 710. KCMO. 101.1 KCFX HD2. Kansas City's most stimulating talk. KCMO.